What if I told you that Donald J. Trump and the 45-47 operation have just paid off the national debt for America's 250th celebration? Would that sound too phenomenal? Well, something here lining up that I think is pretty extraordinary when it comes to whether or not this is actually happening. And I do believe that it is. And after I get done showing what I'm showing you here, I think you might too. So let's take a look at that, because if this is true, I mean, obviously this changes everything. Okay, so you remember a few days ago, President Trump posted on Truth Social a picture of this big brass eagle, okay, out in front of the White House. Now, this is just an AI image, of course, but he posted it with no caption whatsoever, just a mystery post. Now, of course, this went viral because all of the leftists, you know, it's a Nazi symbol. They went crazy with it. Okay, it's a Nazi symbol. But when you compare it to the Nazi symbol, obviously it's not, okay? It doesn't even look anything like it. Matter of fact, it just looks like the American eagle. So I started getting curious. I was like, why did he post this? Because remember, he speaks to us in code, right? So when he posts stuff, and especially when it has no caption, it's just a picture or a meme, there's definitely some meaning there. So we had to break it down. Well, I started doing some research. What I found out was this is actually something that's called a freedom flyer. Okay, now if you're not familiar with it, this is an older tradition, used to be done in the 70s, up recently the 70s, where if you had paid off the mortgage of your house, what you would do is you'd hang an eagle, a brass eagle or a metal eagle out in front of your home above the doorway to signify that you had paid off your mortgage, right? That you were debt free. So is that what this is? Well, that's not enough of a coincidence for it to be something that I would say, yes, that's it. But something more significant occurred. Now, you also remember this week that Supreme Court had this big ruling on the 14th Amendment. Okay, now this was a very emotionally charged amendment. Remember, it was about the birthright citizenship and whether illegal aliens could hop the fence, or the birther vacations could come and have a baby and it's an American citizen. Well, the Supreme Court ruled that no, they can. Any baby born on U.S. soil is an American citizen automatically. Now, of course, all of the liberals and leftists cheered, oh, thank God the Supreme Court upheld the 14th Amendment, and all of the conservatives on the right all melted down, saying that the Supreme Court had betrayed America. But what if there was something bigger at play? And again, this is what got me, because I said, man, this is just too big of a coincidence. There's another part of the 14th Amendment. Okay, now the 14th Amendment, talking about the birthright citizenship, is just a part of the 14th Amendment. Remember, this was a post-Civil War amendment, and they wanted to wrap up the entire Civil War and kind of fix everything that the Civil War was about, what caused it, and obviously all the damages that occurred after it and how it was going to go forward. So the 14th Amendment is actually kind of extensive. Now, there's another part of the 14th Amendment that talks about national debt. Interesting, isn't it? Now, what is this exactly? Well, the Civil War broke the United States, broke both sides, broke the Union and it broke the Confederacy. Well, it left a mountain of debt. So what they did, very smartly, in the 14th Amendment, they nullified the debt. And basically what that language in the amendment says, which I'll show you right here, okay, it says that any debt that's incurred by the Union and or by a rebellion during an act of rebellion is legally null. It's not owed because it's not legal. So have we been in an act of rebellion since 2008? Well, if the theory concerning Barack Hussein Obama's birth certificate is correct, and since a team of experts of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office proved that his birth certificate was in fact a forgery, would it not be that we have been in a rebellion since at least 2008, 2009? If that's the case, then legally, if the 14th Amendment is applied, which of course now it has been ruled as absolute, then all of the debt occurred, including all the national debts that's occurred since 2008, is nullified. Well, a quick search will show you that the vast majority of our national debt has been incurred since that moment. So was it all part of a rebellion against the Union? Well, it just depends on the interpretation. But legally, I think it's pretty undeniable that there is a mechanism in place that shows that they could nullify the debt. Again, the birth certificate If it's not real, which again, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office proves it wasn't, that becomes an act of rebellion, meaning that all the debt incurred after that time, after January 20th, 2009, would be legally nullifiable under the 14th Amendment. Let me show you what I'm looking at. So remember, this is the golden eagle or the brass eagle. It doesn't have to be gold. Nobody said it was gold. Remember, President Trump put no headline here. This just posted this image. So this could be brass, which again, if you look at the Freedom Flyer, it says, flying an eagle above your home signifies you've paid off your mortgage. Known as a Freedom Flyer. This mid-century edition involves mounting a cast iron or brass eagle plaque. Now, again, this could have been a brass eagle. Trump never said it was a gold eagle, but just assumed it was, right? Now, the second part of this is the 14th Amendment. So here it is, right? Again, no legal debt exists for the U.S. to default on. So under Section 4 of the 14th Amendment, the legal framework for this scenario is explicit. Yes, loans would be completely illegal and void, but the U.S. government would not be defaulting because it was never a party to those loans in the first place. So then again, no legal debt exists for the U.S. to default on, right? The debt is void permanently. And if we look at how much of the debt was incurred since 2009, literally 30 trillion of the $40 trillion was incurred since 2009. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. They have found a legal way to nullify the national debt. This is absolutely military strategic planning at its finest. Now, if this occurs tomorrow, or in the weeks ahead, I'm not sure when this will be announced, but they have clearly laid out the legal mechanism that would nullify 30 of the $40 trillion in national debt. And it's right there in front of us, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences anymore, and I don't think you do either. This is phenomenal. I hope I'm right. In Jesus' name, I pray that I'm correct, because if so, this obviously changes everything. See you guys on the next one.